Hello everyone, Ron here. As you may know by now, my second book has been released. Cause for celebration. It is called The Last Entry of Grant Gilson. It is a dark apocalypse story that takes place as the apocalypse is happening. It focuses on our main character, Grant Gilson, who is navigating his way through this apocalypse with his partner Tina, as they are just trying to survive while a mysterious parasite has taken over the earth. I'd like to go ahead and read you the first part of it and see what you think. If you're listening to this, it means I didn't make it. Unfortunately, I'm not even sure there is anyone left who would care or mourn my death, but that is not important anymore. What is important, however, is that if you hear this, then it means humanity still exists. And there is still hope for our continued existence. Either way, I will never know. I can only assume that by you being in possession of this recording, we did survive, and my story, rather, my explanation of the events that led to my current situation can lead to understanding of humanity's supposed last days. Okay, where to begin? In the latter half of the 21st century, our media outlets were saturated with various versions of what we came to call the zombie apocalypse. Every conceivable version of the zombie story had been told, and we were inundated with all the information we needed to survive if it did, in fact, ever occur. In truth, that would have been so much easier had that been the case. But the reality, what happened, was so much worse. No one could have predicted or expected it. The Bible speaks of end times with revelations and the second coming and judgment day. Jesus walks the earth to collect God's children, the apocalypse, Armageddon, whatever you want to call it. I imagine even that would have been easier to accept, but how do you prepare against the inconceivable? I have my own theory. We were on the outskirts of a pandemic. It was labeled as the deadliest virus in history, and it did kill many people, but it was only the preamble. Humanity is an amazingly resilient lot. We created a vaccine, and it started working. Then the virus mutated. So we came out with better vaccines. The news would have you believe we had everything under control, but they were only putting a Band-Aid over it. I don't think anyone knew how deep the infection really went. You know, the funny thing, to tell you the truth, I don't even know if the virus had anything to do with it. People started dying faster than any pandemic could kill them off. People talk about the end times, that there would be signs. Skies turn red, brimstone falling from the sky, and all that. I always expected Armageddon to happen over a longer period, not in one night. I didn't really have a chance to think about it until I made it to this cabin. Even now, the darkness encroaches, and I know my time is limited. That's why it's important for me to get my thoughts down before I am erased from existence as well. Of course, I have no evidential basis for my theory for this, what do I call it? Event? Extinction? Cleansing? A culling? I don't know. I've tried reaching out on this shortwave radio to anybody else that might still be left to get answers, but the few meager people I was able to contact were just as clueless as I am. All I can think is, what if we were the virus, and the pandemic was nature's own vaccine against us? What if the pandemic was nature's way of stating humanity had gotten too out of control and needed to be kept in check? We created a counter to nature's defense mechanism. Nature bolstered its defenses. We countered even that. until nature had had enough and took matters into its own hands. It sent the parasite. I don't know what else to call it. It's not like anything we've ever encountered before. The parasite, as I've come to call it, presents itself as a black, viscous, mutable liquid that looks like motor oil filtered through flecks of glitter, and it's sentient. I don't know if it's thinking, but it has some sort of intelligence guiding it. They say if you stare into the abyss long enough, the abyss will stare back into you and drive you mad. That's the only way I can describe the parasite. It's like staring into the abyss. The deeper you stare, the more that black, inky liquid infects you, and you start to see the secrets of the universe. You can see into the farthest reaches of space, and you realize those flecks of glitter are really stars and galaxies and other universes. The sheer infinite scope of drowning in that blackness will drive you insane. Now, before my words start to sound like the nonsensical ravings of a madman, let me back up. Let me start from the beginning, at least my beginning, as I know it. Chapter 1. My name is Grant Gilson. I'm 41 years old, and in my previous life I was a businessman, an entrepreneur. I invested in small startup companies and helped them grow by getting them the marketing or contacts they needed. It was lucrative, and I was quite successful. I had everything in life I could have wanted, and then some. I had a beautiful fiancée named Claire, and it is with her that my story starts. Claire and I were out for lunch one day at an upscale restaurant, one where you must make the reservations well in advance. It was a day like any other day. The sun was out, the sky was clear and very light blue, and nothing seemed out of the ordinary. We were enjoying the meal and discussing our wedding plans as usual. She wanted a close family gathering at a small local church in her hometown in Ohio. Although I'm from the city, I had never given much thought to fanfare or hoopla, so a wedding in the country was just as acceptable to me as any expensive city wedding. Whatever Claire wanted was fine with me, so I listened half-heartedly as she talked about the color palette, the theme, a band versus DJ, and the usual rigmarole. I sipped my wine slowly and pretended to hang on to her every word, mumbling the obligatory and yes, that sounds nice, as she spoke. Grant, are you even listening? My eyes refocused. What? I was saying my friend Katie has a catering business. We could get her to handle the reception dinner. Yes, love, that sounds nice, I responded. I had no opinion about it either way, but if Katie could cut me a deal on the cost, then sure, why not? And I'm fairly certain she knows a florist. Claire continued, but I went back to my wine. Then again she interrupted. Grant, are you okay? But this time, I was not okay. I didn't even realize I was not okay. Suddenly, my vision became very blurry. It started to darken around the edges. I'm not sure what happened, but it was like looking through a camera lens as it fell sideways. I hit the floor with Claire's voice vaguely somewhere in the ether shouting, Grant! Grant! Grant? Who's Grant? Oh yeah, I'm Grant. My consciousness faded to nothing with that last thought. There you go. If you want to find out more and what happens next, then you have to go purchase a copy of the book. Make sure you leave a review on Amazon. Thank you so much for watching.